Hello, everyone. How are you? Hope you're doing well. My name's Carl. Welcome to this webinar on behalf of the TEFL org, where today I'm going to be talking a bit about teaching English as a foreign language in the UK and Ireland, as it is St. Patrick's Day weekend here. So we thought we'd try and get some Irish-themed TEFLness into this week's webinar. But although the theme of this week's webinar is UK and Ireland, that doesn't mean you can't ask us questions about other things. I am one of the teacher trainers here at the TEFL org, and I do a weekly webinar where I talk about a range of subjects, and I'm happy to answer any questions at all you have about teaching English as a foreign language. Whether you're a qualified teacher who's been doing it for a while, maybe you've got no idea where to start, please put your questions in the chat and we will answer them. We being me or Erin, who is monitoring the chat. Also, please say hello. Let us know where you are. I'm in Belfast in Northern Ireland. Here I work as an online teacher. I work as a teacher trainer for the TEFL org. I also work as an examiner. And before, I've lived in places such as China, Vietnam, Japan, Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, Iraq, Spain and Italy, teaching English as a foreign language. So if you've got any questions about anything like that, also, please do put it in the chat. Right. Okay, let's get going. I can see some questions already coming in. Roberta, I promise I'm going to get you a question. Edward, I'm going to get you a question. Let's see who else. Somebody else asked a question. No, Edward asked a couple of questions. Kelly, I'm going to also answer your questions. Oh no, your question's easy, Kelly. The recording, you'll be able to watch this. It will stay on our YouTube page or on our Facebook page. So if you lose, you have to go and answer the door, anything like that, then don't worry about it. It's going to be there forever to watch again. Right. So first of all, let's talk about, can you TEFL in the UK and the Republic of Ireland? And the answer is yes, if you've got a visa. Now, this can be the main problem about coming to work in the UK, especially because it's not like sort of the rest of the world where they tend to be quite open to having TEFL teachers come and work on work visas. The UK is a bit more difficult for that. Now, if you've got a passport that allows you to come and work in the UK, fantastic. If you've got sort of in the Republic of Ireland, if you've got an EU passport, especially, fantastic. The Republic of Ireland also does have other passport schemes for other nationalities. You'd have to check the immigration website for that. But the key thing is that if, yes, you want to work in the UK and the Republic of Ireland, there are TEFL jobs available, but you've got to have a visa. And I don't want to say it's easy to get that visa because it can be really quite difficult. But if you're available in terms of your being able to get to the UK and Ireland, then yes, you can get TEFL work. And the easiest work you can get in the UK and the Republic of Ireland is summer school work. So what that means is the months of June, July, August, and sometimes into September, sometimes starting in May, but definitely June, July, August, there's quite a lot of jobs available in these countries. And there are a lot of schools that are really looking for teachers in those countries. So lots of summer European students come to the UK and come to Ireland during those months. So basically Italian kids, Spanish kids, German kids, French kids, the richer countries in Europe, a lot of the parents, they get rid of their kids by sending them on 3 weeks or 4 week holidays to learn English and to take some sort of English exam in the UK and the Republic of Ireland. And actually, since Brexit happened, more students go to the Republic of Ireland now. Well, sorry, more students go to Dublin now than they do that go to London. So the Republic of Ireland definitely has a lot of jobs available in those summer months. Outside of that, those summer months, most of the towns or the cities within these countries have language schools. So I live here in Bangor, Northern Ireland. It's it's a city, but it's not very big. It's just called a city because it's named a city. But it's a lot smaller than some towns that are in the UK. I know of 2 language schools just in this town, this city. Now, if you go to Manchester, Liverpool, Cork, Galway, there's even more language schools. So outside of the summer, there is work available in language schools the rest of the year round. Okay. The other thing to think about, and this is especially true if you've got sort of an academic side to you in terms of you've got a degree, in terms of maybe you've sort of working towards a master's or you already have a master's, there's also quite a bit of university work in the summer, especially in the UK. University work in Ireland can be quite difficult to get into. I'm not saying there isn't any, but it can be quite difficult to get into. Whereas in the UK, it can be a bit easier. Again, if you've got a passport or a visa that allows you to come and work in the UK. What I want to tell you is that year-round work is quite difficult in these countries. What I mean by that is work that will give you a 12-month contract. A lot of universities, language schools, the summer schools, obviously, because they only work in the summer, don't give out 12-month contracts to teachers. When I worked in the UK, in England, at a university, they used to give me termly contracts. So they would pay, they'd give me, so they wouldn't give me they'd pay me monthly, but they would only guarantee me work for maybe sort of 3 months. End of that 3 months, if they thought I did a good job, they'd extend the contract. That happens quite a lot. Yeah. So it's not necessarily that that there isn't work all year round, but what the thing is, you're only going to get short-term contracts within that year. And that could be one of the problems with trying to get a visa, because to get a visa for the UK from us outside the EU, especially, well, since Brexit, including a lot of the EU, you need to be able to show that you've got a permanent contract or you're earning a lot of money. And that can be the problems with TEFL schools. So let's talk a bit about summer schools. And I can see there are some questions coming in, and fantastic. Please do keep them coming in. I'm going to answer those questions. I'm having a quick look at them. I'm going to answer those questions. Right. So summer schools. As I said, there's a big market of European teenagers coming to the UK and Ireland. It's massive. Yeah. And COVID obviously stopped that. And the numbers maybe haven't fully recovered since then, because some of schools have gone online, unfortunately, I would say. But the market last year was slightly bigger than the year before, and it's slowly going back up. Okay. June to August are definitely the big months, but those aren't the months when you should be applying. So if you're looking to work in the UK or you're looking to work in the Republic of Ireland, you can look on our website, TEFL.org, job center at the top, see if there's any jobs listed. The other big website that lists UK summer jobs is TEFL.com. And as I'm looking at I'm making this webinar in March, there are companies advertising now to try and guarantee you work to start in June, July, August. So I would really, if this is the sort of thing you fancy doing, I would definitely think about applying now. The other thing to think about is about May time, there's a lot of work where all of a sudden schools realize they need another couple of teachers. So if you're quite newly qualified or you don't quite hit the criteria that they want, sometimes, and I can't guarantee this at all, but sometimes in May, there's quite a lot of work available because their schools are panicking and will apply and take on a lot of people. Okay. Now, I've managed these summer schools. I managed one in South Wales. It was a fantastic summer in my younger days. It was fantastic. I've also worked as a teacher for these summer schools. Now, you roughly get somewhere between £400 to £500 per week before tax as your payment. But these summer schools, 95% of them include all of your meals, all of your accommodation, and all of your excursions. So, for example, I did one year where I was a teacher in a place called Rugby in the center of England, most in the Midlands, basically, of England. And I worked as a teacher. So in the morning I would teach, and in the afternoon I would help out with the sports, for example, or we would do some sort of cultural event. or we would go on an excursion. And they took me to Stratford upon Avon to see Shakespeare's birthplace. They took me down to London so I could see London. So it's a really good place to sort of get and see a bit of the UK. Yeah. Now there's also work like this in Ireland, for sure. And again, a lot of them include your accommodation and your meals, that kind of thing. So it's something worth looking at. Our website, tefl.org or tefl.com, are the best websites for this. Right. They are really good fun, summer schools, but they can be quite tiring. When I did my last one, I was about 30, let me think, about 33, 34 years old. I was one of the older teachers there. Tends to, but doesn't only attract teachers that are a bit younger, sort of in their mid-20s. And they can, they work you quite hard. That's what I would say. You're expected to teach in the morning, have fun in the afternoon, plan your lessons, maybe do some exam prep, that kind of thing. But they are really good fun. So I really do recommend everyone having a go at doing them one next. The other thing about summer schools is they are a great way to start getting higher roles. So if you work 1 year, quite often, if you've done a good job, you're guaranteed to get work the next year. So at the end of the contract in August, they will say to you, the UK school, they will say to you, or the Irish school will say to you, fantastic, do you want to come back next year already? And that's the kind of thing where you can say, well, actually, I'm looking to do something like a coordinator role. And they would say, yes, okay, we would love to take you on as a coordinator role. And that means you might sort of manage a couple of teachers. You might be doing some extra planning, things like that. It was my first managerial role was doing summer schools. I worked as a teacher in the first year. The manager that year didn't want to do it again the next year. At the end of the summer, they said, does anybody fancy being the manager next year? Put my hand up. That was my first managerial role. I'd only been teaching English about 18 months. All of a sudden in charge of 600 kids. I was in charge of about 15 teachers, activity leaders. I had to arrange accommodation for the students, thrown right in the deep end, but I absolutely loved it. Right. The other thing to think about, and again, please, I'm going to get to these questions. I promise you, please do stay with me. Other thing to think about is local language schools. So as I said, most big towns, most big cities have a language school in them. Yeah. And that's because what you're doing is you're basically teaching people who live here. So you would be doing something called ESOL classes. And, a lot of that could be teaching refugees, that kind of thing. But also exam classes, because people that are in the UK or in Ireland, they tend to have to pass an exam in order to renew their visa if they don't have a British or an Irish passport. So, for example, in Dublin, there are lots and lots of Brazilians, loads and loads of Brazilians. Ireland has a good work permit type arrangement with people from Brazil. So lots of Brazilian people come to Ireland. They maybe do 6 months of learning English. At the end of it, they have to take an exam, and that exam will allow them to continue staying and living in Ireland. So you would be prepping those classes for that. Now, it can be quite regular work. So in terms of what they would do is they will sort of sign you up for a term. And the first term, they might not give you full-time hours, but they can quite often, after what I would recommend you do is sort of work for a couple of schools, see if that will work out for you. Do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, one school, maybe Tuesday, Thursday with another school. The other thing to think about is that a lot of these classes are in the evenings. So if you are based in the UK or you're based in Ireland and you want to sort of get into TEFL, but you're not sure you want to throw yourself into it full time, do your course, do your qualification, then think, right, I want to now go work. I want to keep my job, but then I want to work in the evenings. That's the sort of thing that you can do. And then you can see whether you like it after a term. The rate of pay really varies depending on location, depending on the quality of school as well. But it tends to be somewhere between £15 to £25 an hour of teaching. So they'll say to me, right, Carl, you're going to go teach this pre-intermediate class for 2 hours. They'll give me, let's say, £40 for that. Outside of that, I would have to do my own prep, my own marking, all that kind of thing. They only pay you for the time you actually stood in front of a class, but there is prep time and that kind of thing as well. So if I wanted to get into local language schools, if I was outside these countries or inside, I think I'd do it the same way. I'd go on to Google and I'd type in language schools Manchester, language schools Cork. I would go on Google Maps. I'd look for them. I'd click on them, that kind of thing. And I would be emailing them. And I would say, hello, this is me. I'm here in Manchester. I've got my TEFL qualification. Have you got any work for me? And they might say yes. They might say no. Who knows? All right. But that's what I would do. If you're outside the UK or Ireland, it can be very difficult to, as I said, get a visa unless you've got an EU passport to come into Ireland very easily. So just again, same thing though. I would be emailing schools, messaging schools, see what they say. Right. The other thing that you might want to think about getting into is universities in the UK. Now, I'm going to be very honest with that. They do sometimes require what universities see as higher academic qualifications. So you'll see adverts and it'll say must have a master's or something like must have a Delta, because universities sort of have to go by some sort of academic framework where they sort of say this is the standard of teacher we're going to get. But what I would say is a lot of schools have, a lot of universities, sorry, can sometimes get quite desperate in the months before the summer. I've worked at universities where we've had students arriving in, let's say, 3 days' time, and we don't have enough teachers for them because universities were maybe sticking to that criteria at the start of their recruitment process, but by the end of it, they are sort of all of a sudden a bit desperate for teachers. So have a little look. If this is something you want to get into, have a little look around sort of April, May time and sort of see if you apply for jobs anyway. What's the worst that can happen? That's what I would say. Universities in the UK and Ireland. Now it's more difficult in Ireland. That's what I would say. But UK, it's more difficult in Ireland because universities don't tend to recruit big for summer students as much in the summer as in the UK. And they tend to be better planned in Ireland. There seems to be less university work in Ireland than there is in the UK. What I would say is that UK university jobs are really good long-term prospects if you can get into them. You do a good job and then you stay local, and they might give you like a 12-week contract over the summer. Then come September time, they might say, actually, do you know what? We've got a few hours here for you. Would you like to just go do that? Because then long-term, it can be better paid, can have better career prospects, can do things like pension schemes, all that kind of thing. The pay tends to be a lot better than summer schools. You get up to £600 to £700 a week. Plus you get some pension contributions, that kind of thing. Now, accommodation is either included for free or sometimes it is subsidized. So that means, say if they charge a student £100 a week to stay in their accommodation, they might charge you £50 a week. So something to think about. Look very, very carefully at the accommodation situation. You don't tend to get any sort of meals with it. There is lots of marking to go with university roles. It's full on. It's quite hard going sometimes, the level of marking you have to do. So something to be careful. It can also be very, very good on CVs. You know, if you've worked at a university, that really stands out on a CV. Recruiters around the world like that. Finally, some summer university work is now online. So you might be. Now, some universities, they have this, I think, difficult rule where what they tend to do is you're going to be teaching online for the summer, but you need to come to the university, you sit in one of our computer rooms, and you must teach from our computer room online. You can't do it from your home. Some universities say, yeah, no problem, do it from your house, absolutely no problem. So just something to think about maybe if you're looking at online roles. Yeah, that's basically it. So just any questions about that, please put it in the chat. Right. let's talk a bit about working in the UK. We'll get a bit more into Ireland because it is St. Patrick's Day weekend in a minute. Right. The main issue is the visa. The British government, and I don't want to get too political, but the British government, I think, makes it quite difficult to get visas for people to come to the UK. And it's not as easy as it is to maybe go to Australia, for example, or New Zealand. It's definitely not as easy as it is to go to Ireland. The main issue is the visa. Universities won't sponsor people from outside the UK. Now, some companies you might think, big computing companies, big businesses, they might do that for people. Universities don't tend to do that. Universities tend to want people to already have the visa. Yeah. And after Brexit, it's still not 100% clear. As I speak about this in March 2023, it's not 100% clear what the rules are necessary. I don't think the government necessarily knows entirely what the rules are. So it's still not really clear. We might get a change of government. Who knows? What I would say about working in the UK is check the cost of living. Everybody wants to live in London. Everybody wants to live in Edinburgh. Those are expensive cities to live in. Think about going to universities where it's or language schools or where it's a bit cheaper. Yeah, if you've got a chance to go anywhere, because that can be a bit expensive. Okay. Again, in the UK, most of the work is termly or short contracts. That's just the way it is. You might see full-time jobs, but the majority of jobs are not full-time, as in a 12-month or a permanent contract. You might get full-time hours, but you won't get like a permanent contract until you've probably been there a little while. The other thing, finally, to think about with some schools is they expect you to keep learning. What that means is schools will tell you, especially universities, schools will tell you need to keep learning. You need to keep doing this qualification. We expect you to do that qualification. We might expect you to do a Delta, that kind of thing. All right. Now, working in Ireland. Now, there is rules about who can work in schools and language schools in Ireland, in the good, best quality ones. And some of those rules say they don't accept training courses which were done online. A lot of these rules were written before COVID, unfortunately. They expect people to have sort of in-person training. They haven't changed the rules yet. So at the moment, most schools only accept non-online qualifications. And, here at the TEFL, we specialize in doing online qualifications. But I just want to be completely honest with you that doing one of our online qualifications might mean that you don't get to go, you're not sort of seen as the standard to go work in an Irish school. Yeah. However, Ireland is very, very easy access for EU passport holders. All right. And if you have a TEFL qualification and you're from France, let's say, or, any of the EU countries, Italy, something like that, I would be and you want to come work in Dublin, Cork, wherever it might be, I would be messaging schools and seeing what they can do for you. Now, they might not pay your flights, they won't help with your accommodation, but if they're desperate for teachers, they might be sort of saying, okay, this is what you need to do, you need to fill in this form, whatever it might be, and you're over here. There are three main centres to go to in Ireland. Dublin is the big one. Dublin's really, really expensive, I think. But Dublin is the biggest one. Galway is also quite big. Beautiful, though. Absolutely beautiful. Cork is the other one. I love Cork. I think Cork is a great city. So those are the three places I'll be looking at mostly. Yeah. Summer months are busy, for sure. There's loads and loads of work in the summer months. If you go to Dublin in the summer, it is absolutely crawling with Italian, Spanish, French, German, Scandinavian kids having the time of their life walking around Dublin. It is really, really busy. Outside of that, it can be quite difficult. Yeah. Also, Dublin especially has a really big housing problem. There's not enough houses for the people. Cost of living can be high. Don't expect to have your own flat on a TEFL wage. You'd probably be sharing flats and that kind of thing. To go to Ireland, you need to do some research yourself. Now, what I would say is there's a great website. Let me see if I can just show you this website. Now, this website is that coming up? I don't think it is yet, is it? Let me see what I can do. Let's see if I can share the screen again. Share the screen, share the entire screen. There we go. Got it. Thank you. I think Erin helped me out there. Now, there's this great website. It's called elgazette.com. And basically, this is news stories about EFL. Nothing to do with us here at the TEFL org. Yeah. elgazette.com. And I really recommend that every month they do a magazine. And you click here and it'll bring you up the magazine. Yeah. And if you go to the latest one here, March 2023, okay, if you go to the latest one here, then there is a magazine spread that comes up. And let me see if I can make that up. I need to just do that. Let me just present that again. Sorry, I have mucked up by pushing the wrong one here. Right, if you go to that latest episode, that latest edition, sorry, if you go to page 30, there is a big double page spread about teaching in Ireland. This company, which I think has something to do with the Irish government, has paid for, I'm guessing, a feature about why it's so great to come and teach in Ireland. So I really do, if you want to go teach in Ireland, I really do recommend you go to this website, elgazette.com. It's a magazine. You click on it. It's got like this fancy little PDF that makes a kind of annoying noise when you push it. And it's got loads of news stories, but there's also a great section here about teaching holidays in Ireland. That will give you a lot more information about what you need to do. Okay. Right. Let me just see. So yeah, the key thing there is to do some research yourself. Right. I think that's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for everybody who's still with me. Right. Let's get up to some of these questions. Erin is going to help me by highlighting them. I couldn't do this without her at all. Yes, there will be some recordings. Yes, there will be some recordings. You can watch them on Facebook or YouTube page, wherever you want. Right. Edward, hope you're still with us. You sent us a question through about half an hour ago. Those of the third age, does that mean old people? I'm not quite sure. Am I in the third age? I don't know what that means. What are the chances of securing employment, even as teacher's aide in the UK, if one's from North America? Right. If you've got a passport to get you to the UK, so you've got a British dad or something like that, then yeah, there's plenty of work here. Again, the problem is for North Americans, getting the visa. It's not the easiest of places to get to in terms of the visa. So again, it's all about the visa, Edward. If you can get the visa, and it's difficult to get the visa, as I said, because a language school or university won't sponsor people from outside the UK. They want people to already be here. Then there's plenty of work. Okay. I hope that's I hope that's answered your question, but if I haven't, please do ask me more. Roberta, hi. Right. As a TEFL qualified teacher, where should I look for a position in the UK that sponsors a visa? You're not, unfortunately, since it was a lot easier before Brexit, because I worked with lots of fantastic Polish teachers in England. I worked with lots of fantastic French teachers in England. But once Brexit happened, schools all of a sudden needed to sponsor, universities and schools needed to sponsor people. They just can't afford to do that because it costs lots and lots of money. So you don't really get that. Okay. Edward, what is the real cost of living in the UK or Ireland? Right. Well, the UK is massive. That's the thing I'll say. It's a lot cheaper to live in, let's say, the outskirts of Newcastle than it is to live in London. So that's the thing to think about. All right. Ireland as well. If you want to go live in Dublin, it's a lot more expensive than it is to go live in Belfast, for example. So it really does depend on where you go. And it really does depend on you and how much money you spend, what sort of things you go in for. Like if you go on lots of nights out in Dublin, it's expensive. you know, if you don't go on lots of nights out, it's not that expensive. So it's really up to you. I don't think I can sort of say. There's plenty of websites. If you type in cost of living UK, you'll get loads and loads. Yeah. Lamis, is it difficult to get a visa to teach in Spain? Right. Again, it depends on your passport. If you've got an EU passport, you don't need a visa to go teach in Spain. There's loads of teaching jobs in Spain. I would be out there tomorrow if I could go teach in Spain. Loads of work out there. Again, if you're from outside the EU, you want to go live in Spain, Spanish schools aren't really going to sponsor you. It can be really expensive for them. It's a lot of paperwork, that kind of thing. So yes, it would be difficult to teach in Spain. But if you have an EU passport, it's easy to go teach in Spain. Millie, hi. You're in France. You have dual nationality, French and British. And you're doing the 160-hour course. You'd like to know if you get a job in the UK? Yes, if you've got a British passport, you can get a job in the UK. Right. The thing that I would say is you've got to do some work, legwork, some research, that kind of thing, to find work in the UK. There's not going to be loads and loads of websites advertising lots of jobs outside of the summer. In the summer, TEFL.org, TEFL.com have loads of jobs advertised for summer work. Advertising now for the summer. The rest of the year round, you've got to do some research yourself. You're going to have to be contacting local colleges, contacting local language schools. You'll be able to get, you'll be able to find work for sure. Good luck, Millie. Hello, everyone. Everyone's saying hello. Everyone's saying hello. Hello. Jonas, can you TEFL in the UK and Ireland remotely? So that means you're outside the UK and you want to teach UK students. It's quite difficult. There's not a massive market for people in the UK to learn online like there would be teaching Chinese students, South American, you know, Southeast Asia. There's not lots of UK students wanting to learn online. The reason being is that there's quite a lot of the schools, a lot of people, sorry, especially refugees, they get language courses paid for them or heavily subsidized. So they don't really want to pay, don't really want to go online. Yeah. Now, I don't know if you're saying, if you're in the UK, can you do online teaching to outside the UK or Ireland? Yes, you can, for sure. Yeah, that's what I do. I teach students all around the world from here, my home in Northern Ireland. Yeah, if that's what you mean, Jonas. Good luck. Hi, Celine. You're Cecilia in the Isle of Wight. Your question is, sorry, you confused me by saying you're Celine and Cecilia. Your question is the course half and car. Right. Okay. So if you do one of our courses here at the TEFL.org, if you go to our website, TEFL.org, click on courses, you'll see we have a range of courses. Now, the core qualification we offer, the 120-hour qualification, is online. But what we add on as extras is practical weekends where you would spend weekends with someone like me, an experienced, qualified tutor who's done this many times before. We would spend the weekend together and I would answer all your questions. I would train you and you would actually do a practical lesson in front of us, in front of me. And it's great fun. I absolutely love doing them. But that is an extra on top of the 120-hour course. What I would say is for people that are really newly qualified and have no teaching experience, it's a fantastic way to get a bit of experience to write on your CV. It's also a great way of boosting your confidence. So that's what I would look about doing if I was you, Celine. Good luck. Maria, hi. You'd be okay on the Republic of Ireland because you're from the EU, working on it for jobs. So I'd go on that EL Gazette page, click on the magazine and read that article. That's got loads of stuff there, Maria. Right. The other thing is the normal websites, TEFL.org, TEFL.com. You'll see schools advertising there for Ireland. Yeah. That's the places that I go to, the normal websites. Yeah. But I'd also be messaging schools and seeing if they've got any work available. Yeah. Good luck, Maria. Anthony, hi. Hello from the United States. You've accepted an offer to attend university in the UK this fall. That's autumn, everyone. Are full-time international students allowed to work part-time during their studies? Thank you, and Erin Gobra. Is that Irish? It might be. I don't speak Irish, even though I live here in Northern Ireland. Right. Anthony, you got to check your visa. I don't want to give you the wrong information. I think you can do some work, can't you? But I'm not sure. I think there's a limit to how many hours. But don't take that as gospel from me. You need to check the terms of your visa that you have, and it'll tell you on that usually. I think it even tells you on the passport page sometimes. Good luck. I hope you enjoy it, Anthony. Yes, it is difficult, Lamis, to identify where you can work being a UK citizen after Brexit. Yes. Only within the EU. Things, Lamis, outside the EU are the same. You know, nothing's changed. Asia, there's loads of work. South America, there's Central America, some parts of South America, there's some work. You know, Southeast Asia, there's loads of work. China, Japan, Vietnam, there's all loads. Korea, there's still loads of work. But inside the EU is still different. It's still difficult, yeah. No, Jonas, there aren't many language schools in the UK and Ireland that work with online-only teachers. No, there's not. Okay. Yeah, I'm afraid. No, you'd be much better off trying to teach Chinese, trying to find jobs which teach Chinese students or teach Asian students or teach even other South American students. I've seen lots of jobs like that. Okay. Sorry, Jonas. Eleanor, hi. You're a UK passport holder, a newly qualified CELTA teacher. Cool. Teacher spirit Spain issue. Right, I see what you mean. So you want to work in Ireland, but you don't have an EU passport. Right. So it's difficult since Brexit. It's quite simple. And I don't think a lot of schools still know that. And schools in the EU are struggling to recruit UK student teachers because they don't want to be found that they've broken the law somehow by recruiting teachers. If you're already out there, it's different. But if you're in the UK wanting to go out there, it is quite difficult now. Right. Apply for the job first. Try and see what sort of places have work available. Yeah. So, you know, for example, you want to go work in Spain, I'd be messaging language schools and I would say, look, this is me. If I come over, have I got work? Would there be work available? That kind of thing. They might be able to help you with the visa. More than likely, they'll say you've probably got to sort your own visa. And then I'd look into how much that costs, because it can be quite expensive to do that. Sorry, Brexit. At the moment, it's still not clear. I'm hoping in a couple of months it'll be clearer with all these deals that Rishi Sunak is making at the moment. Good luck. Julie, hi. You're getting on well with your online coursework and you're happy to get that finished first before collecting the virtual classroom. Right. Contact us today, Julie. I don't have the power to make that change. What I would do is I would send a message through our Facebook page or send an email, probably quicker from, you know, we've sent you lots of emails, I'm sure, with details. There's got to be an email contact on that. Get on there now. See if you can change it for Monday. The people in the office are really friendly. I'm sure they'll be able to help you. Good luck. Not Baltic. Hi again. You were here last week. How much experience do you require, or are people looking for someone work on this? So a lot of summer schools, they will advertise saying we want experience. Every school advertises saying we want experience. That doesn't mean that they don't take on people without experience. My first ever summer school job, I had no TEFL experience. So they will happily take on people who do a good job with their applications and that kind of thing. That's what I'd say, not bullshit. They don't necessarily want people with loads and loads of experience. Okay. Good luck. People ask me questions about their visas and that kind of thing. I can't really answer that. I'll be honest with you. I got a general idea about visas. I don't know about specific requirements of visas. You know, you've got to be able to go on websites and sort of find that information yourself. Okay. Raminda, hi. Would they consider much older person? Over 65. You're ancient, Raminda. It's a joke. Yes. Yeah, I've worked with people at universities and in summer schools that are over 65, for sure. Yeah. William, you also asked the same question. I think a language school would like to take people on. We have rules in the UK and in Ireland and in the EU, in fact, where you can't discriminate over age. If someone's got the same passport, if someone's got the same qualifications, you can't say we can't take this person on because of their age. I've worked with many people in their 70s. Yeah. Andrea, there's not a maximum age. In terms of getting the visa, younger people tend to get visas more easily because they can get more points. That's what I would say to you, right? So I've non-native, it doesn't really matter whether you're native or non-native in a lot of language schools in the UK and Ireland. Again, we have anti-discrimination laws for that kind of thing. I've worked with many non-native teachers in the UK and Ireland. The problem, as I said, is getting the visa if you don't have a passport for those countries. Yeah. Yes, everyone, you can watch it again. Ian, hi. Have you ever taught in the Republic of Ireland or only in Northern Ireland? Right, schools in Belfast is not huge. Right, in Belfast, there's an international house who tend to take people on that they've only trained themselves, not always, but tend to. What I would be looking at in Belfast, Ian, is the colleges. So somewhere like Belfast Metropolitan College, Southeastern Regional College, Southwestern Regional College, Northern Regional College. Now, they're not necessarily in Belfast, but in Northern Ireland, they tend to have jobs available. Okay, but they're the big colleges. That's what I would go for. The further education colleges. Yeah, good luck with those. Sophie, hi. As a British citizen, would it be an advantage for me to have a PGCE to apply for an EFL teacher in the UK? Right. So if you've already, a PGCE won't help you to be an EFL teacher in the UK. No. PGCE would help you to go work at the local high school, the local primary school. Right. Now, a CELTA or a Trinity TESOL can help because it's sort of seen as more practical and it's a longer course. However, it's a lot more expensive, and it definitely helps to go in Ireland because it's one of those things where they're a bit more open to courses that aren't they only want courses which aren't online at the moment in Ireland. What I would say is, Sophie, if you have your TEFL certificate and you have the right to work in the UK or Ireland, I would be messaging the local schools first, saying this is what I am. This is my qualifications I have. With a TEFL certificate such as one of ours, you can get work in the UK if you've got the right to work here. Yeah. I hope that answers your question, Sophie. Zoe, a Delta is the Diploma in English Language Teaching to Adults. It's seen as quite a high level practical course. Can be quite difficult. I've done it. It was really quite intense, but schools do that. Yeah, but it's a little bit expensive and takes about 8 weeks to do. So good luck if you do go to that. All right. The third age is the elderly. The elderly's wrong. Twilight. Can we go with Twilight? People aren't elderly at 60, are they? I think I've answered the questions about the age. I hope I have. Lamis, is it difficult to get a visa for a UK citizen one teaching in Thailand? No, it's much easier to go work in Thailand than it is to go work in Spain at the moment. If you see a job advertised in Thailand, apply. I've done webinars about application processes. Apply. They'll get you out there. Yeah. It's very easy. Yeah, it's one of the best places to go in TEFL, Thailand. Hi, Philip. What happens when your contract is up at the school and you wish to stay in that country because you settled and like it but don't want to leave? Try and find another job. Schools, language schools, universities, it's a business. So if at the end of let's say you've got a 3-month contract, if they need you financially because they've got lots of students for the next term, they'll give you another contract. Much better than having to get a new teacher in. But if I don't know, let's say a load of students have decided not to come, all of us, they're not going to have you sitting in the room being paid doing nothing for it. So yeah, unfortunately. Yeah. But what you might find is that a different language school has work. That's what I'd do. Okay. Good luck. How much scope, Rachel, is there for teaching English online in Ireland? So if you're based in Ireland and you want to teach students outside of Ireland, loads of work. Teaching students that are in Ireland, not much work. Does that make sense, Rachel? I hope it does. Peter, love the idea of a practical weekend course with you. When can you come? I think the next one in Belfast is in June. If you want to come over to Belfast, Peter, send us a message. Beers? No way at all, Peter. What's a professional TEFL teacher? Jonas, the best place to make some money is the Middle East. End of question. The best place to make money is where oil is. Oil. Money. Good luck, Jonas. Salima, is it possible to get a summer job in the UK with a tourist visa? No, I don't think it is, Salima. You've got to have a work visa, and you can get in trouble if you do get found working on a tourist visa. You need a work visa or a working holiday visa, something like that. Anna, you have a EU passport and settled status in the UK. You also have a postgraduate certificate of academic practice. I've never heard that. Is that a PGCE? Does it mean you can pretty much teach pretty much anywhere? You need a TEFL certificate. I don't know if you've got a TEFL certificate, Anna. Yeah, you're still going to need, even with all of that stuff you've got there, you're going to need to get a 120-hour TEFL certificate to go teach abroad. Good luck. Graham, you have no experience in teaching. You have a business studies degree. Do a 120-hour TEFL course. So go on our website, TEFL.org, click on courses, take the 120-hour one, and then you'd be a fantastic business English teacher. Good. I think that's all the questions. Have we almost come to the questions? Are there problems for women in the Middle East, though? Not Baltic. No. Is the short answer. I think it's a bit of a I don't know what's the I've completely lost my English, even though I'm an English teacher. So people in the Middle East, I find, are treated fantastically. Now, what I would say is there are rules that some countries have about what women can do on their own. Now, if you can deal with that, you will still have a fantastic time. So universities in Saudi Arabia, for example, have women-only universities, and they want women teachers for those universities. There's work for that. And I know people that have gone out there and made a few quid, come back to their home country with a house deposit, that kind of thing. So it depends what you class as problems. That's what I would say. It depends what you class as problems. One person's problems might not be another person's problems, if that makes sense. Not Baltic. Good luck. Elena, I didn't do a webinar about visa applications. Especially what I've done is webinars about applying for jobs, not about visa applications. Yeah. Sorry if I didn't make that clear. If you send us a message, Elena, through our website, tefl.org, click on the bottom right corner. There's a chat with us function, or go on Facebook, send us a message. It won't come directly to me, but they will pass them on to me, any questions that you might have, for sure. Or more than likely, they'd be able to, the team would be able to answer that quickly. Answer it more quickly than I would, okay? And last question, Rachel, and then I'm going. Having done 165-hour TEFL course, can I use this to teach science online? No. What? Because you want to be a science teacher. We do TEFL courses, which makes people English teachers, Rachel. Now, what I would say is some schools in the world teach science in English, even though their English isn't the first language of that country, if that makes sense. but I don't think there's a massive, I might be totally wrong because I don't know much about it, to be honest with you, but I don't think, I've never really come across loads of online science teachers. What there is a market for that I know about. I might be totally wrong. There might be someone right now doing a webinar about teaching science online. What I know about is teaching English, and there is a market for teaching English online. Hope that answered your question, Rachel. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate some of those questions. They really kept me on my toes. I hope you enjoyed the webinar. Please like this page and write in the comments why you liked it, or please write in the comments why you hated it, because I learn as much about that as I do about other things. There have been lots of these webinars that I've done over the last few years now on a range of topics. So go on our YouTube page, go on our Facebook page. The LinkedIn ones aren't, I don't think there's as many on LinkedIn as there are on YouTube and Facebook. But go back through and have a look at any of the past ones I might have done. They all start the same. I do a little presentation, then I answer the questions, but on a range of topics, and hopefully that will help you answer questions. If you've got any more questions, do send us an email through our website, tefl.org, or on our Facebook page, send us a message, and the team will get back to you. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a nice evening. Bye-bye.